So on Saturday night, I went and saw I Am Not Your Negro, an incredible film based on the words of James Baldwin, a writer and civil rights activist who died in 1987. I saw it in Portland, Oregon, with an enthusiastic progressive crowd. Portland is the whitest large city in the United States. It got me thinking about another cultural artifact dealing with race that's largely only available to rich white people: the musical Hamilton. I can't get tickets to Hamilton, but I've listened to the soundtrack and I love it. It uses the life of a lesser-known founding father to tell the story of the American Revolution. It's told in the form of what I guess you'd call a hip-hop musical, and most characters, from George Washington to Thomas Jefferson, are portrayed by people of color. It's been tremendously successful, and tickets are very hard to get. Every rich American who has seen it, from Barack Obama to Mike Pence, agrees that it is very, very well done. And I think it helps us to begin to deal with a problem that James Baldwin identified.
It comes as a great shock to discover that Gary Cooper killing off the Indians, when you were rooting for Gary Cooper, that the Indians were you. It comes as a great shock to discover that the country, which is your birthplace, and to which you owe your life and your identity, has not in its whole system of reality evolved any place for you. The disaffection, the demoralization, and the gap between one person and another, only on the basis of the color of their skins, begins there.
Every country has its heroes, and for too long the heroes of the United States have been white. Civil rights heroes like Martin Luther King have made their way into the pantheon, of course, but that's not enough. And that's why I think Hamilton does such great work. It takes the country's founding myth and makes it into one that all Americans can own fully. This is a great service. And honestly, the founding fathers don't have much in common with white people today anyway. 250 years makes a difference. When it comes to lived experience, these guys are as remote from modern life as any religious figure. Their words matter deeply. But there's no reason why our physical image of them should be rooted in old, inaccurate paintings. There's a lot to be gained by letting that image fade a bit. Of course, we should remain aware of these men as historical figures, just as we should never forget their failings either. But the living tradition of a country is much more than historical fact. By letting the whiteness of the founding fathers fade, we help to build a better America. One of the best things about U.S. culture in 2016 is the way that films are, for political and economic reasons, becoming less white. Hidden Figures, a delightful film about the U.S. space program, highlights the important role African American women played in our race to the moon. Also, Hollywood's need to appeal to overseas audiences has diversified the action hero. This kind of thing is, of course, no substitute for real progress on criminal justice or inequality. The stories we tell about ourselves aren't everything, but I think they are much more important than we recognize.
And until that moment, until the moment comes, when we, the Americans, we, the American people, are able to accept the fact that I have to accept, for example, that my ancestors are both white and black, that on that continent we are trying to forge a new identity for which we need each other, and that I am not a ward of America. I am not an object of missionary charity. I am one of the people who built the country. Until this moment, there is scarcely any hope for the American dream, because the people who are denied participation in it, by their very presence, will wreck it. And if that happens, it's a very grave moment for the West. Thank you.
So when are we getting that Hamilton movie? I want to see this thing, and the rest of the country should too. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. And please consider signing up for my email list as well. I've got some non-YouTube stuff coming up in the coming weeks, and the email list is the best way to hear about it. Thanks.